We are back. You are chatting with John P. Today, we are going to be talking about your watch straps and how they may be illegal, or you may have been part of illegal trade and you just did not know it. But some people do know it and they do get into a little bit of trouble. So we'll talk about that. But first, once again, thanks for coming back. I really do enjoy talking with you in the comments below. Future topics, please leave there. I do my best to incorporate those. And also, do not forget to like and subscribe. It helps me to keep making videos for you. I do appreciate that. And DelReyWatch.com, guys, my site. We've got pre-owned watches, and we really strive to do a great job for you. And we just got in a ton of really interesting pieces. We've got some now vintage Speedmasters. We've got a Rolex Pepsi. We've got a Polar Explorer. We've got some heavy hitters that you guys love and you're always asking for. So DelReyWatch.com and Instagram, The Real John P. You can find me. You can see some things that pop up on there before the website. So if that's what you're into, you can find it there. So let's hop into this topic, illegal watch straps. So I'll admit, there are some watch straps out there that are elephant straps, right? So right off the bat, a lot of you know that elephant straps are illegal just because you can't really engage in the trade of certain products from the elephant, like ivory and all of that kind of thing. If you're into antiques, you know about that. I'm guessing a lot of you are not into antiques, but some of you probably know that. But aside from that, there's something called CITES. CITES. Now, this is a mouthful, so I will read this off for you. And this is a Convention on International Trade, Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. And here's what it is. So in 1975, this whole working treaty, I believe it started in 63, and it took until about 75 for this whole international treaty to really come together and be solidified, finalized, and enforced. But it's an international treaty with about 80 countries, and they're adding more and more every year, even, very smaller countries you would never guess of, like Tajikistan and, that whole section of the world as well. The countries agree that there's going to be certain rules and regulations when trading certain products, in just owning some of them as well. As far as animal products, there's over 5,800 animal species on the list. It's hard to kind of conceptualize this and wrap the head around it. And there are 5,800 protected or endangered species in the world. They're on the list, and there's many, many more plants and other types of organisms out there. But nonetheless, these countries, they band together, and when you're trying to trade or export or import these byproducts of the animals or the plants, the customs will oftentimes scrutinize them, hold them, pull them aside, try to pull licenses. So there's certain licenses you can have. There's certain exceptions. But by far and large, these are very protected species worldwide. Some of them are hard for them to enforce, but an easy target for customs, not only U.S. customs, but also customs in Europe and other participating countries, is the watch industry. Now, today I'm wearing my Omega Speedmaster, my 145.022 from 1970, vintage Speedy. I love this, which it, by the way, does not have a leather strap, but we have to consider that watches a lot of times have leather straps, and sometimes the straps are of exotic animals, including alligators, crocodiles, and the alligator and the crocodile straps are the #1 target by customs to get a package held. So I'll give an example for you here of one particular customer that we work with that had purchased a watch from Europe into the United States, and this was kind of their experience, right? Customs held the package. So they purchased an IWC watch from a reputable dealer, pre-owned dealer in Europe. And when it came to the United States Customs, the package was held for a few weeks. Now, they received some notification that the package was being held up. The customer, meanwhile, was, very upset, or so he tells me. Once again, we're not in Europe. This was not part of our transaction. He had done this, I believe, on the forums. But nonetheless, the package was held up. It was an IWC watch. It was an expensive watch, right? Expensive item. It's stuck in U.S. Customs. U.S. Customs was saying, hey, there's no certificate for this alligator or crocodile strap. We can't allow this into the country. And so Meanwhile, the customer was obviously probably freaking out at that time. He had probably saved up for the watch, spent a lot of time and money finding the right dealer in the world that had the specific model he was looking for. And there's not a whole lot you can do besides wait, right? Like, who are you going to call at customs? Are you going to call the guy on the line that's handling the imports and exports? No, there's nobody you can call. You get some letters. They might reach out to you, but U.S. government, who are you going to call? Let's be real about this. And so it's always important to consider that. Now, there are some brands out there that will ship you the watch without the strap and say, hey, get the strap in the country that you're in, and maybe even give you a better price on it. But there are some brands that will, for a fee, register that strap and provide a license. Now, through sites, there's a bit of a process you can go through as an exporter of that piece to get a license for it. So, if you wanted to buy a very special strap that's, maybe not made anymore for a certain watch, and it is of a protected animal that's on this list, well, you can go through a process. You can certainly pay someone for this, right? Someone has their hand out in this circumstance. But you can pay for it. You can go through a proper, channels to do this, but it takes time. I don't think the cost is huge. I think I remember ultimately that particular customer had to pay something like $125 US to retroactively get that license. But aside from that, general best practice and advice is to not import protected animal products into the United States. Now, that being said, it doesn't always end entirely well. There's been other circumstances we've heard from other dealers where, a watch has been tried to come in and they didn't realize that it was a certain type of a leather. Sometimes when you're buying from the public, you just don't know what shows up. And so the watches were held in customs. And so it's always great to make sure that you just avoid it when possible, because the last thing that I want and you want and anybody wants is for an expensive item that you're dying to have on your wrist to wear and to enjoy, and it gets stuck by the government. And then what can you do? What can you do? It's just not a great situation. So avoid doing that. Look for alternatives. Tell them to possibly hold on to the strap if you're importing a watch. Hold on to the strap. Find another one, but please don't put yourself through that headache, because I've seen horror stories. Now, some people do get away with it, but do you really want to take that chance just for the strap and risk the watch? I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't recommend that any of you do as well. So, guys, leave in the comments below. I want to hear if perhaps any of you have had this issue. It's not every day that this happens, but with as many watch guys that are out there, watch collectors, buff geeks, and especially in the international world today, I want to know, leave in the comments below your experience with this. Are you in a country that doesn't participate? Leave in the comments below. Love to hear it. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. It helps me. DelRayWatch.com. Have a great rest of the week. This has been Chatting with John P. Ciao.